Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's final I Love Learning podcast for the year. When I say final, it doesn't mean I'm ending it. It just means that I saved the best for last. And today I have Steve Foran on my podcast, and I couldn't be more delighted. And I think you're all going to be a little bit more inspired with hope and love and joy after today's podcast. So thank you, Steve, for being here with me today.
I'm so excited to be on your podcast,
Aw.
Nina. And let's, like, my wish is that this is a really nice capstone for
Yes.
your first year.
Thank you.
I'm going to do my best. I'm going to go all in with you. Okay.
All right. That sounds fantastic. And, really, the impact can be broad and wide because what you do, and I want you to tell everyone who you are and what you're passionate about, but what you do is truly changing lives and making an impact. So,
Thanks, Gina. I'm an electrical engineer by training. In Canada and in some parts of the US, we wear these rings on our working hands as reminders. So once an engineer, always an engineer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't do engineering. I don't do electrical engineering. I engineer a different type of energy.
Yes.
I'm a believer in grateful leadership. And this whole idea of how gratitude changes the world around us by first changing the world inside of us. And as leaders, like, I want to be an inspiring leader. If you want to be an inspiring leader, I think we got to come at the world from a place not of judgment, come from a place of gratitude, because it leads to hope and like fulfillment and just helping us all live out. I like to say living life like a playground amidst all the crap going on too, right?
Yes.
It is possible. So I think I'm a believer in grateful leadership and just want to help as many people as we can embrace that. And I work with companies and conferences. So I'm a trainer and keynote speaker.
Oh, that's fantastic. I like that a lot because when you think about it, all of us can, even though we might not see ourselves as leaders, we all have that inside of us that can lead and lead with hope and lead with love and all of those things. And so, Steve, for you, now you're an electrical engineer. My husband's electrical engineer, so I know kind of where you're coming from, right? So I can see. I don't know like how that transition happened, but what was it that inspired you to do this? Like from going from electrical engineering to hopeful leadership.
This?
Yes.
It was a learning moment.
Okay.
Right? It was a learning moment. And our kids, they're twice the age they are when I had the learning moment. So they were working their first jobs in a neighborhood coffee shop. And our oldest son, Nick, I think he was 15. And he started this job in August. So we're sitting around the house in December, and I'm asking him, "What's it like, Nick?" And he said, "Oh, it's good. I work 4, 5, 6, 7 hours a week.
Wow.
I'm getting minimum wage, but I get tips too." And I said, "Really? Let's look at your bank book." And not a member of bank books. I don't know if
I do. I know. I'm so
he
happy.
pulled open his phone, right? And that's his
Yeah.
bank book. And lo and behold, Nick shows me his bank account balance. And his net worth is greater than half of the world's population.
Wow.
And he's still in school, involved in all kinds of extracurricular, all this stuff, plays way too much video games. And I'm looking at him thinking, you're an economic superpower to like 3.5 billion people, buddy. You didn't do this on your own. And did that sound like that was coming from a place of non-judgment? No. So when I'm coming from a place of non-judgment, what I realized, I'm talking to myself. And what I realized, Gina, is that my life was handed to me on a silver platter.
Mm,
And I still got crap in my life. I'm not going to pretend that everything, oh, it's so beautiful. But
mhm,
that, just seeing everything as a gift,
mm,
just brought this enormous sense of gratitude, head,
mm,
heart, wherever. I was in grad school, so it's like, I'm going to do my research on this. This is early 2000s.
mm,
And when I finished, I looked at my wife. I said, "Hun, I think I got to start doing this." I didn't even know what this was back
mm.
in 2006. So that's how I
Wow.
learned. So that learning through
Mm,
Nick and just
mm,
seeing what happened to him,
mm.
I went from thinking I was a self-made person to look at what you've been like, to be born here and now in this place, all these things. Yeah.
Mm, that's pretty incredible. I know that, when you move towards your passion, it's not always a straightforward path, right? It's like you want to get there and you had this moment and this learning moment that really had an impact on you. Were there any kind of hurdles or anything that stood in your way of moving towards that goal, or was it kind of a clean path and so forth?
It's never a clean path.
Okay.
So I'm looking at, and I'm thinking, I'm gonna leave my job. I go to my wife, "Hun, I
Oh, you
so
left your job. Okay.
it's like,
Yeah.
I got to start doing this." I didn't even know what
Mhm.
this was, and God
Mhm.
bless my wife, because she's just like
Aw.
all in with me. We made the list, right? All
Mhm.
the pros, the cons, what you could do, and but then you look at that and you just know. There's
Mm,
something that there's just this knower inside us, right? So that
mm.
was a bit of it. And so the first year, unlike your podcast, but my first year, I worked full time,
Wow.
but I'd like to say I got paid part time, very part time, Gina.
Yes. I can imagine.
Oh yeah, it was to the point we had our credit cards. Not it took a couple of years to get the credit cards max, the lines of credit
Wow.
right to the edge, and
Mm.
my wife looking at me going, "How much
Let's go.
longer are we going to do this?" And I'm sitting
Yeah.
here thinking, "What do you mean, baby? This is what I'm saying. This is
Yeah.
myself, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
feeling on such thin ice, right?
Yeah.
Just feeling on such thin ice. And for me, it's one thing for me to know and have this sense of feeling, when you know,
Right.
right? But Lynn, she is experiencing, she doesn't know, she can't get in, like, she doesn't know the way I know, but she was just such
Mhm.
a support. Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just like this burning desire from within to know your purpose and your passion to continue to move forward is so imperative to listen to. So you had this credit card debt, you had these doubts. What continued you to continue to lean on your wife and know that the credit, what helped you move forward towards your passion? Like, why didn't you give up? Why didn't you say, shoot, I'm going to go back and be an engineer?
It, I, I just kept one day. So you
Mm,
think of the debt or whatever you call it, and
mhm,
then it fortunately it turned around
mhm.
before we went over the what we and that edge,
Yeah.
maybe it didn't exist, the
Mm,
limit of how far you could go into debt or whatever the case is.
mhm.
Maybe it was just manufactured there. It turned around. So I just kept going, and it
That
was
courage. You had courage, Steve. Steve, there was courage inside of you. There was some burning thing inside of you. You said that voice, it just kept at it. It was that you just wanted to help leaders and understand the gratitude and what it's like.
yeah, I don't, looking back,
Mhm.
I don't know. Like, I can't remember any particular, it was this or this
Right.
or that.
Mhm.
Like, it was, I did this. I didn't institute this new practice or anything that I was doing. I continue with my gratitude practice, and
Aw.
I focus on where things are working, where things were, good. I try to surround myself with positive, uplifting people.
Mm.
who believe in me,
Yeah.
because when you don't believe in yourself, like
Yeah.
there's times we think we doubt ourselves, we don't think we're good enough, we're not doing this,
Right.
blah blah blah,
Mhm.
and just sometimes the external validation, hearing it from others, um, I don't know, and I might have felt that if I went back to being an engineer, that I
Mhm.
failed. That is,
Aw.
you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
Um, no, I don't know if that's true or not true, but
Right.
reality, I know I thought that, but whether it's true or not, I don't know if that would have been true or not, that I actually would have failed. Because when we make mistakes, or
Mhm.
it's a great teacher for us, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I always say never look back, just always look forward. There's so much opportunity. There's so much goodness, even though there's darkness in the world today, to
Yes.
be connected to people that will inspire you and to provide hope for you and to uplift you, to understand what it's like to have gratitude in your life and to really experience that. And I love that. Steve, what keeps you happy every day? Like, what keeps you moving forward? I mean, I'm connected to you. This idea of sharing gratitude obviously is impactful. But for you, what keeps you happy and moving forward towards your passion?
Just the everyday knowing, like as an engineer, okay,
Yeah.
as an engineer, you work on something, you see it built, and like there's all these stages that you get to see, and there's progress in that, right? So
Mhm.
this is different. Like
Mhm.
is that really the success? Or when an engineer or
Mhm.
a musician
Mhm.
or an accounting clerk or whoever, isn't it just using the skills and the gifts that you have today? When we use them,
Mhm.
that is success. We tend to judge it by how many bookings, how did we do, da, 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 like all these external validations. So
Mhm.
when I do that, which I mean, I run a business, so there's some external, but I judge my success when did I show up as like on this podcast? Did I show up and be who I am?
Mhm.
Like I promised at the beginning, go all in and be that. If I do that, that in
Mhm.
itself is success. Because when you use the talents that you have been given, I
Mhm.
believe that's success. And when I do that, my
Mhm.
happy meter, it goes.
Whoa. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's like the steps you take, right? The final race is a validation of your hard work, but it's all that work you did the whole time. I just wrote an article that focused on the Olympic athlete, and like it's not the end. It's the journey to get there, right? Because all the beautiful people you meet, all the experiences that you have, all the hard work you have to overcome to progress your mind and your thinking and your brain and everything that goes with it. Yes, I love that. And when you think about it, Steve, like I think about this concept of winning. Like, what is the win? Is it the award? You should see all the running medals. Is it the medal? What's winning to you, Steve? What does winning look like?
It is that.
Mhm.
It is when you're doing what you just know that you're absolutely put here on this earth to do. Back when
Mhm.
I was searching, what am I on this earth for? What am I
Mhm.
here to do? I liked what I did when I was an engineer, but I went looking. And it took me 10 years to find it. And I remember
Wow.
talking
10
to
years? Wow.
10. I know. I'm a slow learner. But I remember talking to a couple friends, like they're colleagues that really became friends, professional
Mhm.
colleagues. One was a coach of mine. And I remember talking to them as I'm searching for my purpose and them saying, I'm doing exactly what I was put on this earth for. And they're
Mhm.
talking. And when they said that, my
Mm.
mouth watered. Like
Wow.
my mouth watered when I told that story
Wow.
just now, because
Yes. It
I
gave
was
me goosebumps.
I was starving for this. I was searching for, I wanted it so much. And I felt like, I remember I was working with this coach, Keith. And when I started working with him, he said, Steve, we'll meet every 2-3 weeks. But here's the thing, you have 24/7 access to me. You just, and I left going, yeah, nice, Keith. I'm not going to call you like, right. I'm going to call you. I'm very professional. I'm working as the engineer. So I take this day off work, kind of think, where am I going to go? What am I doing? And I just, whether it was a pity party, whatever it was, I'm sitting there in my office at home, bawling my eyes out. I pick up the phone, Keith, I'm coming over. I drove over to his house. I go in, he says, what's up? I said, Keith, I know I have a purpose. I feel like I'm in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. I'm in a boat. There's no oars. There's no sails. And I'm just getting blah, blah, blah. And wherever I'm pushed. And Keith said to me, Steve, at least you know. And it just took the weight of the world off. And it's just like, he said, don't force it. You know, it'll come. You're blessed to know. A lot of people don't even know that they're here for something really special, because I believe we all are.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. You know, it's like trying to find that moment when you realize what brings you pure joy. You know, what it is that sets your soul on fire, you know, that gives you light to wake up every day and make a difference, to connect authentically with people, with yourself, like you said. Steve, you know, there are people today listening that are like, okay, you two, you guys seem happy. Everything's great. You have these things, but I'm laying here. I can't get out of bed. I can't go forward. I have no purpose. I have no passion. I have no passion for learning. I'm a learning scientist. So people say that to me. It's like, yeah, it's great. You know, you studied this, but I don't have that passion for even moving forward. Steve, what advice, because you were there, you just described the moment when you discovered your calling and your purpose and your passion. What advice would you have for someone listening today that's struggling, that doesn't have hope, that can't find hope?
Yeah, that's a real powerful question. And it is, number one, I would say, just if you need to forgive yourself or whatever, just don't be hard on yourself, number one. And two, who do you know that you admire that has some level of success in their life, however that is? Who do you know that you admire? Go to lunch with them, talk to them, someone that you really respect and admire, and just hear their story, learn their story. That's what I tell people. Yeah.
I love that. That's going to be my tip for today. I don't think all year, Steve, this is the last one of the year. I don't think anybody has said that up to this point. Get out, go outside, have lunch, and connect with somebody that you admire, someone that you will listen to you, someone that you can share your struggles with, because being alone in your head or by yourself, you know, is not a positive place to be. And just know that tomorrow will be another day that you can connect with somebody. So I love that advice. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome. It's hard. It's hard in that place, right? It's not easy. Yeah.
It's not. Steve, what last words of advice do you have? What lasting words do you want to leave on my last podcast of the year? And tell everybody, after you leave us with those thoughts, where they can find you, where they can connect with you, and what's the best way of reaching you.
Okay. What I wish for you is to build and strengthen a daily gratitude practice every single day. Write it down. Write it, like, involve computer. I don't care. Write it down. Don't just do that every single day. And we can support you on it. It doesn't cost you anything, but just come to my website, join the daily gratitudes if you want. You'll get a reminder and support for it. But if you need to connect with me, gratitudeatwork.ca, because I'm in Canada.
Right.
I couldn't get .com, but CA, you find me there, or on LinkedIn, because I'm on LinkedIn here with you, Gina. So thank
Yes,
you.
absolutely. Thank you, Steve, for joining me today. Thank you so much for your inspiration. Thank you for finding your passion and doing what you were called to do to make other people's lives better. I really appreciate that. And thanks for being with me today.
Gina, thank you for just creating more positive ripples in this world we live in, and just the energy and inspiration that you bring to your work and